while ago I did a video on the scariest kids in horror games, but today I wanted to dive a little deeper on that topic. Instead, on the 7th day of the 31 days of Halloween, we'll be taking a look at the creepiest babies in horror games. Now, babies in horror games actually come in many different forms, shapes, and sizes, so we'll definitely be playing with this concept just a little. You'll see what I mean as we start taking a look at this list. Oh, and even though each of the entries included in today's video are creepy, I'm sure there's a few that I'm missing. But I try to include as many creepy babies as possible in today's video. Regardless, be sure to hit up the comments and let me know what creepy babies in horror games did I completely forget about when making this list. Before we get started though, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel for more survival horror content. Also hit that like button if you enjoyed today's topic. Anyway, my name is Ruben with Nerdspace Games and this is my top 7 creepiest babies in horror games. Let's get it. Number 7, Cherubs, Doom 3. Maybe it has something to do with my fear of bugs, but Cherubs are easily some of the most terrifying monsters in the Doom franchise. While Doom isn't necessarily known for being a horror franchise, Doom 3 stands out from the rest as it completely focuses on sci-fi horror elements. And you guessed it, the Cherubs are among the most terrifying creatures in the game, especially in terms of the anatomy of these creatures. See, these human, alien, demon, bug, hybrid creatures have wings and insect-like limbs, but their bodies are just giant creepy babies. Yeah, if the design of these creatures aren't enough to terrify you, the fact that they hop around and are hard to hit, plus the sounds that they make while they chase after you, should be enough to scare the living hell out of you, just saying. Number 6, Ultimate Being, Parasite Eve. Throughout most of the game, Eve, the main antagonist of the game, has one goal: to give birth to the ultimate life form. After defeating Eve near the end of the game, we believe that we stopped her from achieving her goal, but that isn't the case at all. Eve does end up giving birth to the ultimate being, and man, it's definitely a face that not even a mother could love. Well, maybe she could. I mean, it is Eve we're talking about. Anyways, this demonic creature hops aboard the ship at the end of the game and attacks Aya, beginning the true final boss fight of the game. Now, technically, for this list, we're only looking at the ultimate being's first form, as that's the baby, obviously, and it ages up almost instantly, so we don't really get much time with the baby version of Ultimate Being. But even if we took the rest of the forms into consideration, none of them are as creepy looking as that first terrifying stage anyways. Like, Jesus, that is just horrifying to look at. Does that make me a bad person to say that out loud? I mean, is that horrible? Chat, comments, let me know. Number 5, Blow Up Dolls, Condemned 2, Bloodshot. While technically not actual babies, but rather baby dolls, these little rascals are absolutely terrifying. At one point in Condemned 2, Bloodshot, Ethan Thomas arrives at a toy factory. The Walker Doll Factory is full of different types of doll enemies, but arguably the most terrifying are the creepy baby dolls that run after you. That's because these dolls pack a punch if they get too close to you, because they literally explode when they get near you. Yeah, they blow themselves up as soon as they get close. Ironic because there's another entry on today's list that has a similar effect, but because these guys aren't as dangerous, frequent, or as fast as other exploding babies on today's list, they'll end up at number 5. Still, exploring this factory still gives me nightmares as I can't get the sound of this ticking time bomb that these baby noises make as they get closer to you before, boom, you're dead. Number 4, Diary Keeper's Baby, White Day, A Labyrinth Named School. One of the most underrated ghost horror games is White Day, A Labyrinth Named School. Hell of a name, by the way. This horror game surprisingly has more scares than a lot of ghost horror games out there, and the designs of each ghost in this game and the backstory of each one makes this game one of the best ghost horror games I've ever played. Anyway, one of the more disturbing ghosts in both appearance and backstory is the baby ghost, aka the Diary Keeper's Baby. This ghost appears in the second section of the game, I believe, and while the first few times we see it, it appears relatively harmless, the final fight against it is anything but. When the baby ghost becomes a giant baby ghost, it begins to go on a rampage and shakes the entire school in the process. In order to defeat it, you have to recreate a doll and deliver it to the baby ghost before it's too late. The sounds the baby makes throughout this entire section is extremely disturbing, and it's even harder to face this thing after realizing exactly why it is trapped in this school to begin with. No spoilers, but let's just say that all the ghosts in this game are here because of a traumatic event in their past, and I'll leave it at that. Number 3, The Sink Baby, PT. Compared to every other entry on today's list, The Sink Baby in PT has the shortest amount of screen time. As you can tell based on how high it's ranked on today's list, obviously it makes a major impact with the little screen time that it has. In PT, we are constantly stalked by a ghost named Lisa, who was a pregnant woman who was murdered by her husband. Now, while most of the game focuses on Lisa and she's behind a majority of the jump scares, the Sink Baby, aka Lisa's onboard baby, plays a small part in some of the scares. As we make our way through the familiar hallway that we've been stuck in pretty much all game, we'll hear the cries of a baby every so often. At one point, the cries will be louder than normal and the bathroom door will be open for us to investigate it. Upon investigating the bathroom, we find a fetus in the bathroom sink crying loudly. Of course, this sequence is followed by another jump scare, but it's the same baby that lured us into this moment and made the entire encounter extremely disturbing from start to finish. Sometimes less is more. Number 2, Crawlers, Dead Space 2. There's not many horror games that allow you to kill monster kids or babies, even if they are beyond recognition, and for good reason. However, Dead Space 2 does not give a fuck about that, and not only does it pit you against necromorphs that were once kids, but it also forces you to fight baby necromorphs known as Crawlers. Considering the fact that even the name of these necromorphs are disturbing when you realize that they were once babies, we're already pretty freaked out when we have to fight and kill them. However, Dead Space 2 ups the ante a bit by making these crawlers more terrifying by turning them into exploding babies. Yep, you heard me right. Crawlers are basically exploding zombie alien babies. Pretty crazy, right? In a game that is full of terrifying body horror and monster designs, the crawlers still somehow manage to be among the more terrifying creatures in the franchise. Like, I can't tell you how many times I was caught off guard by an exploding crawler that instantly killed me out of nowhere. Number 1, the Giant Fetus, Resident Evil Village. Straight up, the Giant Fetus of RE Village is the main motivation for making this list. I mean, anytime I think about a creepy and terrifying baby in a horror game, the giant fucking fetus in the basement of House Beneviento is the first one that comes to mind. As Ethan is exploring the basement, the power goes out. Then, as he makes his way back to the elevator, he sees a blood trail followed by a screeching sound. This sound is enough to make your heart drop on its own, but it gets worse when you see that this is a giant fetus that is coming around the corner ready to swallow you whole. Speaking of which, you can't fight this thing like you could with every other enemy in the game because you're completely defenseless at this point in the game. And if the fetus catches up to you, it instantly kills you by, well, swallowing you whole. Yeah, even the damn death animation is absolutely terrifying, and first person mode doesn't make this sequence any less terrifying, unfortunately. Like, you get to watch it slowly swallow you in first person. Like, how horrifying is that? Anyway, this sequence is easily the scariest part in the entire game, and it's actually one of the scariest moments in the entire franchise, so obviously the Giant Fetus of Resident Evil Village claims the title for creepiest baby in a horror game. But that does it for this episode of Nerdspace Games. Hit up the comments and let me know what you think of my list. Is the Giant Fetus of Resident Evil Village the creepiest baby in a horror game, or is there a different creepy baby that deserves that title? Let me know down below. Anyway, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more survival horror content. Also, leave a like on today's video if you enjoyed today's topic. Well, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Nerdspace Games. Take care.